if you are in a situation like me, not raised in this, but fortunate enough to have the covering of a man who is connected to someone greater, who has a desire to go after that which is righteous and to lead his family in that direction. Don't stand in his way.
All right. Shalom, family. How's everybody doing? I am Haji Golightly.
And I'm Hope Malael.
Yes, we want to welcome everyone to the Go Lightly Perspective. It's been a long time since we've had a chance to record together. My wife has been busy doing what she needs to do, being a virtuous woman. And for that, I'm thankful. So shout out to everybody that's joining us on YouTube. Please take a moment, like and subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content so that we can continue to grow and get this message out on a broader, to a broader audience. Is that all right? All right, family. So today we are going to discuss vision, the importance of vision, and how the patriarch or the man, the husband, how he needs to communicate that vision in a way where the wife can actually help him with it, right? Mm-hmm. That is key. Now, let's look at it from a historical, tribal perspective, how in the beginning, the Father made Adam. He made Adam, gave him a job, placed him in an environment, which we call the garden. Looked at the man and said, it's not good for him to be alone. And right after that, he didn't put Adam to sleep. He gave him a job, put him to work. And then, as Adam had been working, he put him to sleep and he brought the woman forth. He communicated several things to his wife that he did not. He communicated several things to Adam that he did not. The text does not record that he gave those things to Eve or Hawa. Now, in essence, it was Adam's responsibility to convey the vision, the likes, the dislikes, the interests, the commands of the Most High to his wife, to his helpmeet. He had to do that in a way that she could receive it. So this is the call for the patriarchs, is to ensure that what you're communicating, that you have received from above, you have to communicate it in a way that your wife can receive it. That is the essence of communication, is to ensure that the person that you're communicating with understands what you're saying and can implement those things. Mm-hmm. If you're giving them directives or things that need to be done. Communicating Spanish to someone that only speaks English, or they could only speak Russian, it's a failed attempt at communication. So for me, I had to learn that my wife receives communication a certain way, and I have to temper it and cater it to her. It's a totally different method of communication that I have to have for my wife than I have for my daughter. Same words, but it's different. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if the patriarch, if that man, if that husband has received the vision, and let me say this, I'm not speaking in definitive terms that the father can influence a woman as a conator, a wife, a helpmeet with a vision, and she then relays that to the husband, and then he may pray about it, and then they go about executing that in the earth. I just didn't want to say that this communication only goes in one direction. However, more often than not, option number one is the way that the father moves. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that being said, husbands, are you communicating the vision to your wife in a way where that helpmeet, that person that is there with you, that is taking a vow to assist you in bringing your vision to pass? How have you done that? How has the husband done that in a way that's effective? And if it's effective, now you have the opportunity to have a conversation with the wife. Mm-hmm. And then the wife has a role, and we'll go a level deeper, like in agricultural terms, because it's, it will be the equivalent of a man taking a seed and placing it in very fertile ground. Mm-hmm. And in that ground is where it comes to life. It's in the womb of the earth. And the woman is oftentimes, a metaphor for the earth, her womb. And it's not just her womb. It's also the womb of her mind, where she has a certain divine feminine characteristic that the husband can benefit from. So I want to take this time and I want to bring my wife in and talk about the wife's role in all of this. Mm-hmm. Please share whatever you would like on that.
You said a whole lot.
I did. So you can just pick a spot.
So as far as, the way that we operate, and I think what I've seen to be effective is when you mentioned two options, mm-hmm. Where the husband has the vision, he shares with the wife, and the mm-hmm. wife carries it out, versus the wife having a vision and sharing it with the husband. Now, we've been married for quite a while now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be 19 years this year.
Hallelujah.
And I think at this juncture, we are one. Mm-hmm. May have not always been that way. Mm-hmm. It was always the goal.
Yeah. It's been some growth.
Yeah. But I think at this juncture, at this stage in our marriage, if something does come to me, I do have the sense and wisdom, understanding to come to my husband and talk about mm-hmm. whatever it is that I feel has, dropped in my spirit or mm-hmm. whatever. And then ultimately it's up to you how we move. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important to understand, the order of, and what it really does mean to have the husband as the head. So it's not about, you iron fist ruling mm-hmm. over us. And as you stated, you have to know how to communicate with your people. Mm-hmm. The same message, but you have to, temper it a certain way, feed it to, cool it off a little bit, give it to the babies or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But it's not, it's nothing that falls flat on me. I understand that, ultimately is your vision and I'm to help with that. Mm-hmm.
And that you made so many great points. One saying that you held on to that I said some time ago is that the worst thing you can do is try to give someone the help that they don't need mm-hmm. and they don't want. That's very, very easy for, I don't want to speak for women. I have to catch myself. That can easily be done if they think that they know the right way to go. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, you gave it to me. Let me run with it. Mm-hmm. Or How do you see that going?
I think it's interpreted as what that person thinks would be helpful if it were them.
Say that again.
So if it were the opposite and I needed help with something, I'm going to execute the way that I think the help would be effective for me in that situation. Like, I would view what I'm doing as helpful.
Right.
Why don't you see it as helpful? I'm just trying to help out, So I think that that's the thing, understanding what's needed versus what you think is needed.
Right.
Because that person, just because, you find it helpful doesn't mean somebody else will.
That's a good point. And for the husbands, it comes down to, do you value the help that, your wife brings? Mm-hmm. Do you really value that? Or is it just lip service, or is all the communication one direction and she can't inspire you? She can't give you a different perspective, a deeper, richer, well, maybe not deeper, maybe just a richer perspective with a few more colors, a few more values that maybe you have not considered, because, I look at the femininity, like the feminine persona of wisdom in the scriptures. Mm-hmm. It's been equated to having, feminine characteristics. I don't believe that is a woman versus a feminine persona. And oftentimes, they would say women have a sixth sense. And I believe that the Hebrew woman, the Black woman, is the most discerning, the most spiritually sensitive creature on the face of the planet. That's just, my belief. Sisters know they could walk in a room and know that somebody been talking about me.
That's not spiritual. That's just historical perspective.
Don't stop now. Keep talking.
Right. That's just historical. That's just because of experience.
Right.
But,
and even like being connected to their children, being connected to their husband, just having this gut feeling, and as well as, being connected with the Most High. I really believe in that, he made Adam in his image and in his likeness, and within him, there was a them. Shout out to, the Honorable Dr. Thomas Murray, Imagina, their book, The Them and Him. When he made Adam, she was already in him, having the masculine and the feminine principle already there. So there is this complete oneness, as you said, that a married couple is attempting to reacquire, to rediscover in that oneness. Go ahead.
I think that that's the part that is missed in preparation for marriage. That's the goal of the marriage, is to become one. It's not, people say that all the time, but do they really know, what that means? And understanding the role in it further helps understand what it means. You're going to say something.
Yeah, when, understanding what that means in oneness, that's a singularity, being singular in thought. We have to get to the point to where when the husband speaks, or maybe even when the wife speaks to the children, it's almost as if you hear the husband speaking. When they deal with certain subject matters, there is no division or division. That just means, two different visions. Anything with two heads and two visions is going to be problematic. But I always said that, anything with two heads is a monster and needs to be put down. So we look at it in terms of the oneness, that completeness that they experience is because the husband has shared his thoughts. He's washed her with the water of the word. He's helped her understand why he thinks the way that he thinks and moves the way that he moves. It's not just nebulous. It's not, a lot of it is, cause and effect, but a lot of it could be, great inspiration that he receives from above. And also he's following the pattern of his fathers. So getting back to, I always advocate having a righteous example. If, young people that are married, you may have been married a year or two, who are the people that you look toward in developing or fielding some of the ideas and the concepts that you have about marriage, about oneness, about vision, about disagreements, which is huge in marriage. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with disagreements in marriage, in the roles? Maybe the husband has communicated a vision that rubs the wife the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that that's from the Most High. What would you suggest for a wife that may find herself in that situation where she just doesn't agree, does not understand? Maybe he just dropped it on her and walked away and just left her to pick up the pieces. I don't know. It's a multitudinous, a multitude of ways that this could occur, but just share from your perspective, please.
That's a dual responsibility. And I think that, the wife's responsibility in that specific situation is to first ask herself, why she has a problem with whatever it is.
Okay.
And sometimes it requires some soul searching. It may be a trigger you didn't even know was there. It may be something, in the deep recesses of your mind, something happened that was traumatic. And now this situation is just making you go into this mode of defense to protect, whatever it is that you feel is at stake. Mm-hmm. And I think also it requires an understanding of the husband. Who is this man that you are married to? Mm-hmm. Do you trust that this man truly cares about you, protects you, will give his life for you? If you truly believe that, then, it shouldn't be so difficult to embrace whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Now, unless that trauma is there. Now, if there is, that trauma, that's what makes people get to a point and be like, okay, I love you, I follow you, I do whatever, except that. Mm-hmm. And, you don't know it's that until it's there, yeah. Right? You don't know it's that thing until it's something that makes you really, really uncomfortable.
And would you say at that point, is that woman behaving like a wife still? Or what would you say about that? Because I think that everyone because this culture, it pedestalizes women. Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday. Go ahead.
What happened yesterday?
Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Okay. I'm like, what happened yesterday? It pedestalizes women. Mm-hmm. And it's very few moments where, a woman may be held accountable, where her belief system is challenged and they're challenged to change, which brings me back to something that Imagina said, that we are in an all-out war for the mind of the Black woman or the Hebrew woman. Mm-hmm. That is the quintessential battlefield for our people, because we have to till the earth. We have to turn over this layers of soil, this thick Georgia clay. We have to till some of that stuff up and replace it with some nutrient dense soil. Mm-hmm. So you made a great point that, about trauma. Mm-hmm. you may not know that the trauma is there until you're challenged on those things.
And you may not even identify it as trauma.
Okay.
It might just be something that happened in your life.
Okay.
And just a response of something seemingly unrelated kind of brings those, emotions to surface for whatever reason. But there's something you said, I lost the point. I can't remember.
I was waiting on it. I knew it was good.
What was it?
Let's go back.
I don't know.
Let's just go back.
Ahead. Let's start. Whatever.
Okay. No.
I can't remember. Sorry.
Let's just go back to because we were talking about younger couples that may have been together for a short amount of time or any length of time. Why are you in disagreement with a thing? You really have to challenge your motivations. You really have to challenge what you have been given from the dominant culture, which is that's one thing that I focus on in being one that challenges and is willing to push the bar and identify things that are not within the cultural understanding, the Hebraic understanding, versus those things that may be quintessentially American or Western. We have to challenge those things. Since you remember that, I'm going to let you go, and then I can come back to the point that I was making. Go ahead.
Just, as I mentioned, the length of time that we've been married, been a lot of changes throughout the marriage, but I don't think that there's ever been a time where we weren't connected. There's never been a time where there was, a lack of respect or love or any of that. And there's never really been a time where I tried to control the situation.
Yes, that's different.
Right. So women have to really check themselves when they find themselves trying to manipulate the husband out of the thing that he feels he needs.
Ooh. Man, I wish I had a bomb to put on that.
So, and it's done in various ways where, whenever something important for him is on the table, here comes the damsel in distress wife. Like, I can't, something's coming up, something has happened, you can't do that. And it's really because she doesn't value what he thinks he needs. Because she's afraid that if he makes this connection, she will somehow be left outside of being his everything.
You can't be a man's everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that that's how some people look at. Some women really believe that they're their husband's savior. They believe that without them,
the ship gonna sink.
He wouldn't be anything.
Yeah. Well,
without what I do, you wouldn't be anything. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that without me, my husband would be destitute, sitting in the corner, crying and sad. I think that had we never met, we individually would be wherever we are doing our own thing. But I don't think that he would be destitute and downtrodden without me.
No.
Because I don't believe that I'm the only woman in the world that's worth a damn.
And we never believed in there was just the one. I found the one. I think that is a woman may think like, well, I'm the one, the only one for him, in terms of like almost like in a theatrical or cinematic standpoint, just like Neo in the Matrix, or even the programming that they've received in the 80s and in the 90s, have you found your soulmate? Have you found the one that, I don't believe there's a proverbial one. We've
I think people
worked,
connect on a level though.
Yeah, people can connect on more levels than another person.
Right.
I think that, our connectivity has been amazing. But like you said, that if, and maybe one day we'll share the backstory on how we met. And, some people call it like a random chance and things. There were a lot of things that had to occur. You know what I mean? For us to meet, which, it was definitely was, I know that it was divine, because it's ultimately, this relationship has benefited me in an amazing way, where the Father has used you in a certain capacity where, you would always say, yeah, it would get on my nerves sometimes, because you would ask me so many questions.
Good questions.
Good. And she was like, don't get mad at me because I ask good questions. And to be honest, I did not have the answer to all these questions, but it made me go back and do more research and like, well, damn, if this is what you say you're going to do, why don't you have these answers? And it just pushed me further ahead a bit more. So, later, I appreciated that. At the moment, I was like,
It's a little nerve-wracking.
it was just a little bit. But that thing that I was running from was the very thing that I needed. Back to your point, sometimes women are trying to push their husband away from things, manipulating things because of their fear, because of their trauma, not knowing that in and of itself is divine medicine that you need to take. You need that medicine. The things that we fear are often the things that the Father are challenging us on.
Especially when it comes down to men needing men.
Yeah.
You can't stand in the way of that. That's, you see men that have relationships that go back to infancy almost, because men are supposed to have, brotherhood and relationships.
Yes.
And that doesn't keep my husband from having a strong relationship with me. If anything, it's made a stronger relationship with me. But my husband's always been a brother, a great brother, but he understands brotherhood, and most men want and desire, that. But some women just don't. They feel like, I don't know what they think the guys are doing, getting together, and I have no idea what they think, but it's definitely, I don't know if it's a battle for attention or what the problem is, but, a lot of times women don't want their husbands to take hold of anything that means something outside of them. He's not just your husband. He's somebody's father. He's somebody's son. He's somebody's brother.
Yes.
He's an employee somewhere if he works. I mean, he has all these different hats that he wears. It's not all about you.
At all.
It's not all about you.
But that's been, branded to women that it is about you, where you are the prize and he needs to bend to your will, or you go into this rage, this emotional response to where I'm gonna tear stuff up, or I'm gonna withhold sex. I'm gonna not connect with you on that way to show my disapproval.
I would say that a real woman isn't even attracted to a man that has any type of feminine characteristics that allow her to, run over him.
So who was that? I can't remember. Someone was saying
attractive.
that, they are attracted to men that they can manipulate and control, but ultimately they end up leaving them for that reason, for not being able to make decisions. They want that's why the bad boy, whole bad boy thing, because he seems like this uncontrollable. He's a project.
But if you can make him love you, you real special. You a special woman. You can get the bad boy to calm down and be with you. Grow up.
I used to call it they want to declaw the lion,
Right.
or defang the lion.
Right.
You know, you knew that he was a lion out there on a hunt.
Right.
And you got him, you caught him. Well, you know, we're speaking from the context of the world. You know, that's the way we came. That's not the way that we're advocating now. I know the ways of the world. Mm-hmm. I know how it ends up, which is why I'm so pro arrangement.
I mean, we were in the world.
Yeah.
There's no secret.
No secret.
We weren't.
Yeah. I wasn't raised in the culture. Mm-mm. However, this has been my thing. I can't determine the time in which the Father chose to wake me up to my identity and then challenge me to walk in the school of thought that we say is patriarchal, like the office of Abraham. I can't determine that. What I can determine is how quickly I adjust to the information that is given me. So it may take some people 6 years to get to an understanding that has been given to them that they see in the text. Mm-hmm. Whereas it may take me only 6 minutes. Once it comes down, and I think that's, and I've said this before, some of the residual effects of the military, where you had orders, you were going in one direction, but once new orders came, you stopped. You cleared those orders and you went in the new direction. You stopped on a dime. Everybody doesn't have the ability to do so, but I do. I can determine how much I pray, how much I adjust to this new information, to this new paradigm, and I'm fully immersed. And you know that once I see something, I tend to go 100%. That's why I don't like to. I know y'all. Well, they didn't see that. Some of y'all saw my wife out there playing ball. Shoot a couple, jump shots. She get excited. I get excited. I don't play ball anymore because I don't really have like this middle gear. It's like full steam ahead, or just sit back and just shoot some jumpers and just leave it alone. You ain't there no more. So, family, really be adjusted to where you are, wives, or if you want to be a wife, learn to compromise. Can you talk about that maybe for a moment? The necessity of compromise, because you've been sold a bill of goods that may not be in your best interest, that may be laying landmines and traps for you in marriage, in the Israelite tradition. You have to be willing to compromise. No one said that it's going to be the way that it is in your mind. Mm-hmm. That's purely an illusion. And that wife that's trying to manipulate, mm-hmm. or that young wife that young woman that wants to be a wife, or that young brother that wants to be a husband.
Some of them are old.
And old. Yeah. Yeah. Older ones tend to be more rigid,
more beguiling
and manipulative. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to do this and you ain't going. Hey, you right. I ain't going.
Right. The compromise piece is, how can you really say you love someone if you don't want to compromise anything that you want for what they want?
Right.
And it's just, a compromise is really just an agreement to meet somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. You give up some of what you want, I give up some of what I want, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Right.
It's not saying that, I totally don't get anything out of it, but to love in the first place and care is sacrifice. Mm-hmm. You can't be in a relationship, especially, a marriage, without sacrifice.
Right.
And, even before it was, ascribed to the understanding that you have today, I can recall, early on in our marriage, it was, part of me has to die for this relationship to work. Mm-hmm. And it's not, you're not dying. It's just, that part of your thinking. Because the singularity in moving when you're not married, that has to go. You're
Right.
not single anymore.
No. But that's part of like the miseducation where our women are so celebrated for being strong and for being independent. And you don't, men send their daughters off to college, women send their daughters off to school, say, get this education so you won't never need no man. You won't never have to depend on a man. And then you get the degree and you get down later in life and you focus on your career. And now it's later and you're realizing like, maybe this wasn't it. Or maybe it is. I'm not saying that it's one way or the other. But we have been sold some things that are not in our best interest. And part of those things are going to have to die. Mm-hmm. It cannot remain. And you must be willing to sacrifice those things in order to be used. And that's all we're talking about, is being used by the Father. My wife doesn't necessarily want to do these videos. She only does this in a sacrificial way to share her perspective, her experience about the journey, what she's learned along the way. And you should be so, I don't want to say lucky, to have someone to speak to you in these terms that has the stripes, that has the experience, that has raised adult sons. We're not talking about children, babies. You still got children in diapers. No. We're talking about raising adult sons that are walking in the way, that call her mom and she didn't give birth to them, that love her more than their biological mother. See, that's a whole nother level of love, sacrifice, and commitment, because she has loved everything that has come from me.
Love me just as much as their biological mother.
Okay. I'll receive that correction. Love her as much as the biological mother, because they see that she loves me and loves them as well. So she totally could have been in that vibration. Well, I'm only going, love my son that I gave you. I'm going to put all of my, I'm going to give him all of my wisdom, my time, and make sure that he's straight. Forget the rest of them. She didn't do that. So young ladies, young women, older women, middle-aged women, if you don't have someone in your life that has done that, you need to tap in. You need to listen. Consider the perspectives that are being shared, because this is what you want. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to do, as you said, sacrifice a part of yourself to give birth to something greater. Mm-hmm. And I don't look at myself as if I'm greater than the whole. I'm talking about the whole group. Me, my wife, my sons, my daughter. I'm not, as an individual, more important than the body. You can't look at it like that. She understood that she's not more important than the body. She can't try to stop the boat from moving. The train leaving the station. If it's of the Father, the train is leaving the station. You probably want to get on. Leave the baggage behind. He'll get you new stuff. Mm-hmm. He'll get you new raiment. He'll get you new mindset. A different way to move. So
you better remember Lot's wife.
You better remember Lot's wife. So man, vision. I know we went a lot of different places, family. We talked about vision. We talked about division. We talked about sacrifice. We talked about communicating effectively to your spouse. We talked about not manipulating, not using your feminine energy to try to control your husband.
That's witchcraft.
Come on.
I don't like that.
I know.
I don't.
How bad don't you like it?
I don't like it at all. And I see it so often.
You see it out just on social media? Do you see it in the Israelite tradition? You see it in...
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And it's just more disappointing in the awakened.
Okay.
Because it's more than just realizing,
identity.
Right. It's
so
way
much more
beyond that. It's the functional piece of it that people miss so often. And I think, that whole drawing that hard line, or if you see the hard line doesn't work because you don't want to seem like you're disagreeable, you take another way around, And I think I posted something about feigning illness and, this whole, just to get attention back on yourself. And, you need to ask yourself, why do you do that? Why do I need that attention? Why am I not able to handle whatever it is going on? Why do I need this attention? Because that's all it is.
You can't be raised in this unrighteous system, come over and say that you're ready to walk upright and to please the Most High and still keep that same mindset. It doesn't work.
And then especially if you have a daughter, you're teaching your daughter to do that same thing to her husband. You're teaching your daughter that when she doesn't get her way, to fall out, act like something is wrong, create this urgent situation so he can't do whatever it is that he needed to do because you want to pull rank for him to prove how important you are.
No, we don't go for that. And men have to be in tune when they see that happening. You have to. Well,
do y'all see it? Do y'all notice it?
This is really about.
But do you expect more from your spouse, and you don't expect this person to do that? Is that what it is? Is that why it works every time? Is because you expect your spouse?
A lot of times they make concessions and they compromise, but you have to have vision. You have to know when you're being manipulated. You have to know when someone isn't sincere. A good husband, a good patriarch is connected to and is sensitive, knows his people. I know when, my children are trying to manipulate. I know it. I know when they're lying. Have you studied those that are connected to you for little tales? This one may flare their nostrils. This one may all of a sudden, start rubbing on their ears. This one may start yawning when they lie.
We got one that do like this.
Yeah. Start scratching their head. I study my people. I study my wife. I'm looking for mannerisms. I'm looking for little changes because you have to have that vision, foreknowledge and forbearance to not react to everything. We respond appropriately to try to get the outcome, the expected end. And that's a full, complete oneness, y'all, where there's no division. And you guys can work together to try to accomplish the vision that has been given to you from above.
And one more point, women, if you are in a situation like me, not raised in this, but fortunate enough to have the covering of a man who is connected to someone greater, who has a desire to go after that which is righteous and to lead his family in that direction, don't stand in his way. Don't be a hindrance. If anything, bow out. Goodbye before you stop him. But make sure you leave his children with him. As Imagina would say.
Don't try to take the children.
Don't try to take them. They're not yours.
They don't belong to you. And that in and of itself is a hard saying. In this culture, the children belong to the woman. In the Israelite tradition, the children belong to the father. That's his seed. You keep it for 9 months and you have to give it back. You can't hold on to it. You did everything you can do. Now you got to give it back to him. That's a tradition that we follow. I don't care about other cultures. I don't care about how Western culture defines it. That's fine. I'm in this culture, but I'm of a different mindset.
That's still being a strange woman.
Ooh.
they're still being strange. She's not just Asian. She's not just Mexican. Some of them are very Hebrew and tainted from the world, because it's about your mindset and where your thoughts are and what your motivations are rooted in.
Right.
So, if you think differently about yourself or better than your husband, then you are strange. If you think it's about you, then you are strange, because I don't see a whole lot in the text where it's talking about Sarah begat anybody. Rachel begat anybody. Leah begat anybody.
No.
It's definitely a patriarchal lineage that's described in the text. So stop memorizing scripture so you can battle script people.
Right. That's not that. We don't even
subscribe to that doctrinal debate kind of thing.
If they're far, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. I just think that there's more productive things that you could be doing with your time than arguing with men and other women online over doctrine. Your doctrine is sacred to you. Nobody tells me the doctrine for my house. I don't even discuss it with men outside of my home. I may have some conversations with men that I respect to try to understand why they think how they think. And then I draw conclusions based on my own research, and we go in a certain direction. And I give that to my family. I determine what that doctrine is. I will share those things with my wife, and she may say, well, babe, what about this? Great point. Boom, 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 boom. It's because of A, B, C, D. I've already thought about that. So I just think that oftentimes women, younger women especially, because I don't want to speak in definitive terms and make blanket statements, but oftentimes when a woman gets to a certain age, it's just very, very difficult for her to move in this path. If you are one of those, congratulations, you might be part of the remnant. But for the younger women, you should consider being like Ruth, who took the counsel of an older woman that directed her and told her how to get a Boaz. She didn't know how to do it by herself. She didn't go out saying, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I ain't listening to this old chick. No. She said, your culture is my culture. Your gods are now my gods. You have to have someone that can instruct you in a righteous path. Those that desire the Father, that will repopulate for in the wilderness and in the kingdom, they will do that. And that's a righteous thing. So hallelujah. Did you have anything else before we wrap it up? That's it. Well, shalom, family. We appreciate y'all for joining us. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, share. We're going to be doing more. I'm just so thankful that my wife was able to join me. We may try to squeeze one more out before we get good. Yeah, we want it to be pleasant and not a burden. It's not a burden. So,
even
share.
though this was take 3.
They didn't know that though. We had to stop because somebody didn't have their bullet points together, and somebody
right note.
And that's a learning thing. Like when we do videos together, I kind of freestyle. I go with like streams of consciousness and flowing. That style doesn't work for her, so I have to frame it in.
Well, we have so much of the same mind.
Yeah.
I think that he thinks I read it. I read it fine. I was like, so the first take he asked me a question, I was like, what? I didn't know you were
That's not what we discussed.
We talk about that. So it kind of, caught me off guard. But we're here. It was fun. It was interesting. I hope you all got something from this discussion. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Shalom, family. Much love.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Do we have outro music?
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
It'll be playing in the background.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
So you can bob to it. Stuck in my past,
About to relax.
I keep running back to you.
I tried to refrain, but your nectar's so sweet and savory.